All right, special video just because I had covered what happened on the PlayStation. I wanted to make sure that we discussed what happened on the Xbox. Now, if you're late to the party, PlayStation announced that they were completely removing Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store, and they were issuing refunds, of course, if you submitted it. Now, I don't think they were just like wiping the game from the systems if you had already had it, and obviously if you had a hard copy and what have you, because mine was still on there, but that may change. But of course, I had asked for my refund because the game is virtually unplayable for the PlayStation 5, considering how many times that it crashes. I'm not going to spend too much time going through all of what we've been experiencing. Just know that it's rough out there for a lot of people. I have it on the PlayStation 5. I can imagine, and I don't have to imagine, I've seen all the videos of people posting about how it's being handled and the issues that they're having on the base PlayStation 4 Pro, and all of that. So of course this was the right thing to do. It's at a bad state, didn't look good as well, considering that even they had basically said, not basically, they did say that they really should have been showing how it looked on those base consoles, in which they really never was showing that. So it led a lot of people on. And here we are. So you can get, if you click on that link, if you look for it, the link that we went through yesterday, if you go look at that video, you can go ahead and submit your refund. It's pretty easy, or submit it for a refund if you are one of those that are just having so many problems with the game that you're just like, no. And the odd, bizarre, I guess, thing about that is that still, for whatever reason, CD Projekt Red is fanboys are trying to protect this game. Of course, you can read the comments on this same video. What's going to end up happening is there's going to be 50 people saying, well, it works fine on my PC, or the people that are the exceptions that have it working on PlayStation as well as Xbox. And it's disingenuous to bring that up, mainly because you can't say that while completely ignoring the fact that, objectively speaking, like, this isn't our opinion, it has been basically unplayable for a lot of people, and there's optimization issues even on PC. That this isn't an opinion, right? This is something that is fact, right? If you just look outside of the lens, which if you were one of the lucky ones that didn't have many problems, you would understand how poorly this game is running for a lot of people. But the crashing and all of that, a lot of that stuff is happening on console. So yes, there may be a couple of you guys that, well, I'm having no problem, or I just had one crash or something like that. Just understand that doesn't necessarily represent the entirety of the community that's playing this game. It has issues, bugs galore, as well as there was some shady business practices being done here when you consider that they kind of withheld the information, even lied actually about it when they said that it ran surprisingly well on the systems, and they even stated they ignored in that investor call, which we went through, that they completely ignored the fact that there were signs that said this game was not ready, yet they still put it out. But this news came out today. Xbox is also offering full refunds for anyone who purchased Cyberpunk 2077 digitally. Now this, the reason why I want to do the video, because a lot of folks are saying, well, I don't think this is a Sony thing. It's more they're trying to stick it to their competitors because, you know, they did a lot of like collaboration with Xbox and stuff like that, which is, again, stupid for them to do that, because Sony will be missing, as a retailer, essentially would be missing out on money as well. If that was the approach that they had. So that doesn't even make sense, but people are going out their way to try to protect this game, considering this has been an absolutely disastrous release. But this proves, obviously, to the contrary. As mentioned, Cyberpunk 2077, to ensure that every player can get the experience they expect on Xbox, we'll be expanding our existing refund policy to offer full refunds to anyone who purchased Cyberpunk 2077 digitally from Microsoft Store until further notice. They tried to butter it up, saying, while we know the developers at CD Projekt Red have worked hard to ship Cyberpunk 2077 in extremely challenging circumstances, we also realize that some players have been unhappy with the current experience of on older consoles. So they're acknowledging, like, yeah, they tried their hardest, but yeah, this game's fucked. So we have to issue a refund. So no, this wasn't a Sony trying to take it to them or their competitors at Microsoft. No, it's just the right thing to do because there are a lot of people that are playing games that either are not like they expected in terms of how it looks and operates, but most importantly, it doesn't work for a lot of people. I mean, the crashing and all the bugs and the frame rate issues. I've seen some of these Xbox frame rate issues, and they're unbelievable. People getting 15, 10 frames a second. In some aspects, like it's just an absolute mess, and it simply was not optimized. So you can sit here and blame whoever you want to, but whatever you do, don't blame the consumer. I know a lot of folks will because they say, well, the consumer demanded this, this, and that. Well, consumers demand, that's the whole concept of buying and selling. Consumers have demands that they want met. And you provide that service or product or whatever for them. That's nothing new. This is nothing that is unique to Cyberpunk. It's just they did themselves in the door, kind of talking the game up, promoting it, marketing, and they had a lot of hype to live up, and then they kept pushing the game back further and further and further. And then it just led into a disastrous release. So a lot of folks are going to blame everybody aside from CD Projekt Red, whether it be the developers or whether it be the which they're combined, essentially the investors or shareholders or whoever you're going to blame. Whatever you do, don't blame the consumers. PC masturbators, don't blame the consumer. No matter if you're one of the lucky ones, don't blame the consumers. The consumer expects to have an operating game. It has PlayStation 4. It has Xbox on the box. They expect to have a game that works, and come on, give them more frames than 15 in certain aspects, and it doesn't look like it was anticipated to look. And I can understand the frustration with a lot of folks when, like specifically talking about the PlayStation 4, where we had those really ambitious titles and God of War, and most recently Ghost of Tsushima, which looked amazing. Ghost of Tsushima, even on base console, looks amazing. Now, is as ambitious as open world, but is it as ambitious as Cyberpunk? Maybe not. But again, it's that expectation there. Like you can't sit up here and provide someone with a crap product that is not even like what you had been promoted. That's why I said it's a case to be made for fraud in that, at least for the base console. So there's that. But yeah, I'll be playing it. I've been playing. I've clocked over 100 hours on it on PC. And I'll be having my review come out to you guys soon. I'm going to make sure I'll take my time with this. I'll take my time with the review, and I'm going to do my best to separate the performance, which I'm not going to give it a score. It's going to be much like I did with Avengers, where it's like, okay, we know that this game has problems. So let's try to assess when it does work. Let's try to assess the experience there so that I want to make sure the review is relevant if this ends up getting patched and at some point re-released on PlayStation consoles or more people are buying it because of the patches have got this thing back on the road. I want that review to still remain relevant. I'll mention it. I'm not going to just sit up here and ignore it like it's not a problem, because it absolutely is a problem. I'll acknowledge all of that probably at the beginning of the review, but I won't sit up here and I'm not going to score it in that regards. It does have performance issues on every single platform. It has, we've seen all of these YouTubers and people benchmarking and everybody's messing with the DLSS settings if they have an RTX card and running on potato settings to try to get this game to operate smoothly, barely getting 50, 60 frames and watching what some ordinary gamer the other day talking about this game. He's like, man, I have an i99 100K with a 3090, and this game it's ambitious, but it's not as ambitious enough for it to be bringing his shit to his knees like that. His 3090 to his knees, because he's getting like 40 to 60 frames. It fluctuates. It really does. Like me, when I'm in action and stuff on PC, where I have, for those that don't know, I have i99 100K. I have a unit that has a 2080, and I have a unit that has it on a Titan RTX, dealing with the same problem. I mainly usually play games with my Titan because it's my editing console. So it's not a card built for. I don't want to say it's not built for gaming. It is. A lot of people say it's not, but that's wrong. You're misspeaking. It's not made specifically for games, though it has the similar hardware, more powerful hardware in it, but it's more so obviously you don't get a Titan RTX or something like that to specifically like run games or something like that. You get that for production purposes, which is why I have it, but I do game on it from time to time and have no issues with other games. But Cyberpunk, man, yeah, 40 to 60 is about where I float. That's with DLSS on performance. And that's on 4K, I believe, resolution, and messing with some of the other settings. But yeah, it struggles, man. I've seen so many videos of people with those higher end graphics cards that are having some issues, man. It's like 60 here, 70, even 70 in some cases. And then you get into some action that you're like in like 40, 45 frames or something like that. So it has optimization problems. That's not a secret. But yeah, Xbox, the good news is if you are one of those that are not satisfied, you can get your refund. It seems like there's going to be no strings attached, much like the PlayStation is. Look, man, I did not want this game to do this, right? And whoever's fault it is, just it's on CD Projekt Red internally. That's just what it boils down to in that regards. But I don't want folks to try to make it seem like I'm ragging on this game because I didn't want it to be good, or you even have some retards who talk about Avengers and bring it up and they're like, well, you liked Avengers and that's why you're so mad. Like, again, a retarded statement, but especially considering that I documented all the technical issues in Marvel's Avengers and everything that I said, if it did this, it would cause the game to fail. Came into fruition. Nobody told me that was special. This is I told you so assholes that are always in the comment section, because they don't understand how to separate fucking mindlessly hating on a game versus being objective with it. So their retarded ass can't conceptualize the idea of someone being objective and being able to be honest with it. So anything aside from mindlessly hating it, they see it as shilling because they're fucking retarded. That's why you shouldn't argue with those people. But I wanted this game to be good. I was looking forward to it. I talked about going into 2022 or whenever the online version. I'm actually more excited about that than I am the basic version of Cyberpunk, because that I want to see what they can do in that arena. But I didn't want this game to fail. It just had some problems and it's a rocky ass release. And for my gaming experience, yes, I was mainly playing on PlayStation 5, though the upgraded versions aren't out. You're playing an enhanced version of the PS4 enhanced version, PS4 Pro enhanced version. I've never had any game, and I play a lot of games throughout this cycle for the PlayStation, right? PlayStation 4. I've had no game that has crashed on me like this. This is a unique thing. It's that bad. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I know it's hard to conceptualize if you have a game that you're one of the lucky ones that's operating, but you need to understand that it's not an exaggeration when folks are saying like it's unplayable for them or it's having these issues or it looks like dog shit if on base console. Like, that's not an over exaggeration. It is. I have all the receipts. I have compilations. I should not be able to build a crash compilation on your game within like 2 days of it being out, right? So I have crash compilations. I have all of my streams that are still live on Twitch. You can see how many things that we encountered there, how often that thing crashed in even one session, to the point to where I was like what Marvin Gaye said, make me want to holler, throw up both my hands, because I was done. I was like, I'm through with this game. I'll get it on PC where it has all these bugs, which I've also documented, but at least I can play the damn thing without it crashing. But that's not the fault of the consumer. So not everybody has a $2,500 graphics card or I don't know how much this unit is, like $4,000 or something like that. No, not everybody. That's the whole point of getting a console, right? For a lot of folks, is because they don't have the money and they don't want to be dealing with that, and it gives something a base for the developers to shoot for, and they drop the ball in that regard. And I always keep in mind on this, for those of you that are going to blame the consumer, remember that this game was never as it was promoted, when it was marketed, you need to understand that the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation and the Xbox Series X were not out. They weren't out. They weren't even announced. And if it had came out when it was initially supposed to come out, we wouldn't even know about even the specs of the damn PlayStation 5 as well as the Xbox Series X. It wouldn't, at very minimum, it wouldn't be announced. It wouldn't have been announced. So keep that in mind when you say, well, it was built for this, and that. No, it has optimization problems. They dropped the ball, and it should be okay for us to understand that.